match number 1, again, between Mafty, Did Nothing Wrong, and IQ. We're going to have the map picks and bans come up in just a short while when they're completed. But is there anything particular about this matchup that we should be looking for? This is the first time they face each other, at least at this event.
Right. Yeah, so they did compete in the previous event together. They were the first and third placers. Well, technically, this is really the same top 3 in a way, right? There have been roster changes overall. Mafty has lost Casino just temporarily. They just have a lot of good players that they circle around. So shout out to Casino, who's been in the chat all weekend. But no Casino is a big deal. Casino, of course, one of the best players that we see in the entire league, along with pretty much everybody else in these top 3 teams. IQ, I believe they're pretty similar. I could be wrong on that. There have been so many roster changes that I always get confused. And then in the bottom, I guess, of the bracket, we've got the Team Tekken Dynasty temporary rebrand with Last Second. So it's a few people from Team Tekken Dynasty. However, this is kind of just like a shakeup of what have you learned from the last broadcast.
Yeah, exactly. And we didn't see a lot of Mafty. It was just pure domination when we did see them. For IQ, though, it really was the sort of core range DPS of Amano and Exponent. We'll see how that gets answered back by Mafty when we go into this match. But here are the maps. We're going to be starting in the Underground Command Center and then going to Flak Fort. Yes, everyone, Flak Fort is making its debut here on broadcast at event number 2. And then if we get to map number 3, it's going to be Colony Trading Post.
All right, so potentially the return of Colony Trading Post if we do end up getting here to a game number 3. Of course, it's going to be 3 out of 5 all the way. I'm sorry, 2 out of 3 all the way up until 3 out of 5 in the grand finals. So that'll only be the final match of the day. But we're starting out, like you said, with, I would say, it's 2 more slow-paced maps. Actually, realistically, all of these are more slow-paced maps considering just who we have playing. So I think that maybe this is just one of those weeks where we're going to see all these teams just continue to slow it down. They're going to be playing to their greatest strengths and not trying to just brawl and just win the brawls, which does, I think, take a lot of confidence in your game plan, especially on particular maps.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's any teams that you expect to be able to have a particular win condition in mind, everyone be on the same page and immediately execute, it's going to be these teams into the top 3. I feel like that's such a John Madden statement because that really is what it takes in order to be a strong competitor in any competition. You have to be a very particular style of game to be a team game to be successful with just individual 1v1s without any care for what the rest of the team around you is doing. And we definitely see that with the full concentrated oppressive push that Mafty had in their previous events that we watched. And then of course the IQ and Last Second with the main sort of range DPS being the front of the spear, or rather being the main depth of the when the spear like splits off, it's the big heavy part. These are the range DPS. You have the little actual front of the spear, which is usually the melee players with the Exia and the Barbatos that are like sort of getting that entry, but then the real damage comes from. I promise this makes sense, my analogy. It's really complicated. It's fine. We're going into the game at this point. We can forget about all of that.
We can just say it was a Marsai analogy because we want to see more Marsai on broadcast. I'm surprised we haven't seen it. Still a good suit, but we haven't seen it for a while. However, we're going to be starting here on Underground Command Center. First game of winners finals, and already they are pushing out. We're going to see, of course, the sniper on both sides. Carl Sagan on the gym sniper on the side of Mafty, and on the other side it's going to be Amano. These are actually 2 of the best gym sniper players we've seen on any broadcast.
Ooh, yeah, and maybe the pressure alone, just a couple of shots from the Dom Trooper is pushing Mafty away from the high ground. IQ are going to take over that space, but again, it's going to be onto the sniper to find the opening, but Carl Sagan gets the first shot onto Chaotic. It's going to be a really easy revive, but the fact that the timing is still not there just yet for IQ to push in, this is still the first waypoint.
Right, and we are going to see, of course, the retreat back to behind the waypoint, the classic for this particular spot. These defensive teams love to defend this exact angle and play around this exact corner. And both of these teams playing very safe, I'd have to say. Nobody getting picked. Oh, yeah, there's some damage on board, but still, somehow both teams staying completely alive. And this is a huge dive.
Chaotic going on in. The damage was there. Saw speed was taken very, very low. The tank was forced back, and that's going to be the opening that IQ are looking for, but they are losing players. The damage just... they could not follow up on it. They could not execute on it. Focus especially went huge on the Astromar. You can see him getting a bunch of the kills in the kill feed, and IQ are going to have to fall back and reset.
Yeah, I think that was a really nice dive, and there was really great coordination, right? Everybody pushing at the same time, but it just came down to who landed the most shots, and it was just all on the side of Mafty. Speaking of landing shots, Carl Sagan, of course, saying, nope, you cannot get within my sight range, especially when you got a big head like Dom.
Yeah, and not even a revive allowed after that knock. A full destruction there. You're going to have to give a little bit of seconds for Invictus to respawn back up. Carl Sagan's G maneuver does go off just for the information gathering. Amano's going to try and answer back, though, with the high ground, looking for headshots of their own. But you can see the traces of Carl Sagan's own sniper shots.
Just preemptively firing up there, just saying, nope, nope, no, you're not even going to give you a chance. Amano, though, like I said, amazing shot. We've seen Amano get literally a 4-kill with 4 shots on this exact spot, however, it was on defense. And we are going to see, unfortunately, Amano go down as I talk about how good they are. But once again, it looks like this is going to be a pretty good... Oh, wait, no, not a good defensive hold. It was for a moment, but then they... Oh, no, it was. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
it is, totally.
But this is what I mean, like Mafty, they have their spacing. They know exactly how far back they need to go to stay safe. They even gave up the waypoint, allowed IQ to take that because it was essentially opening up the jaws, and then they closed it right on top of them. They only lost a few units. There's a bunch of G maneuvers at the ready for Mafty. IQ are still loading up their own. In fact, they even used some. Or no, Amano actually slipped away from the sniper, is on the Pale Rider, hoping that the mid-range DPS is going to help them out here. But it's not working out so far. We still see a lot of red in the kill feed.
Yeah, now we're going to see Chaotic go down. We're going to see, okay, literally every single person. Please, stop. I'm trying to say the names. You don't have to kill them all at once, please. Oh, no, this is a very tough hold, and this is what Mafty is so good at. Even when they lose players, even when they get a pick on the other side, they recover from every deficit so well, and that's been, I think, one of their greatest strengths over every single tournament that I've seen them in, is you cannot find that one opportunity. It looks like you have the opportunity, but you don't.
Whoa, I was going to say, the Trans Am at the ready for Chaotic. This might be the ability that they need to open this up, and there is a energy cable just shy of being charged up on the side of Blue Jay, so if they can combo that together, that could be the DPS that they need. That is a G maneuver activated elsewhere. Big Large drops arrow out. That's going to be a huge destruction of the DPS on the side of Mafty. So this could be the opening. The Trans Am goes in. Chaotic is trying to get the slashes through, but it's going to be countered out by the Screaming Nimbus from Enders. Disrupts the position, disrupts the approach. Waypoint has been captured. Chaotic does get a kill, but can they follow up with more positioning, more spacing?
Oh, they don't have much time, though. Despite the fact that they get this pick, they're still 5 up on the side of Mafty. 4 up now. Okay, they need to get this plant. This is their only chance. They're still holding a great defensive spot here. The Screaming Nimbus is going to be a great start to this push. The plant will go down, and this is their final opportunity.
Great use of the Screaming Nimbus, as you said, to clear the space and allow the arming of the Mega Charge. The problem is, can they hold it? There is no time for any mistakes. If the disarm comes through, that is round 1 dominated by Mafty, so IQ need to hold really strong. This is not a difficult position to hold, however, and it's going to be the Salsa BEG maneuver, the funnels activated to make sure that this hold sticks.
And Victus taking down Carl Sagan is going to be really nice. I'm going to see if we're going to see a switch from Carl Sagan now that we've gone into this inside point. I feel like it's possible, but again, they're just holding that defensive position, trying to push back in through the side, right directly from their spawn, the fastest way back. 3/4 pretty much of the bomb have been planted, and here's their big push.
Good trades, Dom Trooper for Dom Trooper, and another Screaming Nimbus comes on in. Carl Sagan's getting a lot of kills with the sniper, even with the internal sight, even with the short range, and this is going to be the disarm coming on through, body blocking to allow it to happen, and it's gonna be committed with Mafty win round number 1, not giving IQ a single point.
I mean, at least they got some progress on the first bomb plant, but wow, that was an incredibly strong hold. You really love to see it, and I'm even seeing in chat that people are saying that, yeah, Carl Sagan just sticks Jim Sniper on this entire map, so that answers that question that I asked a few minutes ago. But hey, it showed that, like you said, even close range, the shots are incredible coming out of Carl Sagan. So beautiful stuff. It's just so hard. It's so hard to find that opportunity against Mafty. And now Mafty just needs to find one good opportunity, and this map is theirs.
Look at these damage numbers. A lot of good damage coming out of Mr. Big Large on the side of IQ, but it, as a team, pales in comparison to Mafty. It's a lot of team effort across the board. You're seeing Arrow, Carl Sagan, Ender's Focus, and David all with 5 digits there. It's just the potion, the healing. It's fine. You don't have to be high DPS for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you have enough DPS, there's only enough life points to go around, right? You can only do so much DPS as a team. Somebody's gotta be a little bit lower. But it does look like there's a chance that we are going to see the RX-78 Gundam come out from Arrow, which is a pick that we've seen before and one that's worked very well on this map in particular. It's going to be on the defense. It's going to be able to, of course, use that Hyper Hammer to shut down the shield ability of the Sazabi that Saris is playing on IQ's side. I'm really excited to see if that comes into play. But I mean, hey, if they just play how they played last game, I don't even know if they really need to do all that much extra.
All they need to do is just have the first site go up in flames, and that's going to be map number 1. But here comes the initial push. Unsurprisingly, IQ, Mr. Big Large is going to be forward, trying to drop a firebomb right at the exit of spawn. But immediately ground is going to be taken by Mafty. David up close with the shield at the ready, pressuring the site. No one's falling back from IQ just yet. Carl Sagan, you can see on the high ground, going to be playing on the opposing Ashmar as well, trying to find those angles from the sky. David taken very low, down to half HP, but it looks like the follow-up DPS is coming on in, trying to find the opening. Chaotic going to be rushing into the enemy lines a little too forward because he's going to get taken out. Arrow with a couple of shots though with the Gundam. Going to try and get revived here, but do they have the space available to take the waypoint?
Ooh, it looks like they certainly will, and now becomes the toughest part of the map, just being able to hold. Oh, nice shot coming out of Amano, finally able to pop off on some of those Jim sniper skills, but all you can do at this point is delay, right? There's no mobility to be able to go and take that point back, and that's actually a huge stagger. This could be the push that gets the plant.
There are defenders here. It's going to lock them out of the main entrance. So the respawn timings have worked out in their favor, but Arrow is here up close. This laser weapon, is it mid-range, is it long-range? Who knows? The point is that Arrow is making it do damage, but he is now forced to fall away, looking for a med kit, looking for a med pack. The Mega Charge has yet to be armed. But a good drop onto Evictus. This could be the opening they're looking for. Hyper Hammer going to stall out the respawn.
I'm super surprised they actually haven't been able to get the plant down. Maybe they're just waiting to regroup, but they've got the positioning. We do see a little bit of an attempt there. However, that backwards angle that Chaotic is holding is just doing so well to stop them from ever getting anything specific off. But look at them, there's so many there, and this looks like Arrow will finally get the charge down, and they only need to get it to, I mean, pretty far, I guess, but they do not even need to fully destroy the Mega Charge.
Enders has been putting in a lot of work recently with this Dom Trooper. All this zoning with the rockets, with the lasers, and here comes the funnels from David. There's going to be a lot of area control possibilities. Going to be incredibly hard to push through. Shotgun shots come out. Still no real kills going in the way of IQ. Everything is going up Mafty right now, and David even falling away, finding some more HP, swinging around the side, and Carl Sagan here up close range with the Ashamar laser beam.
Oh yeah, the double punch is going to be huge there. The energy cable used, Arrow still has, just to be able to delay for the final few seconds, that napalm grenade, and there is a chance that you can throw it here at a spot where literally you just cannot disarm. I think that's what it's being saved for. This might be GG. There it is. It's thrown probably on the point just to guarantee that win. Nobody able to destroy it, and that is going to be GG with Mafty solidly taking map number 1.
Really, really comfortable play there from Mafty. Again, just the full team-wide effort is absolutely ridiculous from anyone to push through. It's going to have to be a hard-fought battle as we go into Flak Fort for IQ to take this back, because Mafty showed very few openings for any team to come back.
It's been their strength. I mean, I know I just keep repeating it basically, but it's just so incredible to see that every single time that there is any sort of opportunity, right? We've seen multiple times where teams have planted and set up defensively mega charges on destruction missions against Team Mafty, and you're like, okay, it looks like this is probably going to go off. But even with like 4 people left, they managed to somehow take out the entire team and just get the full disarm pretty quickly as well. Like, there's just no situation where they are out of basically winning any fight or any map. They're so solid. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we do have Flak Fort coming up next. Before we go to map number 2, though, we're going to go to a short break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. It wasn't that short. Okay, there we go. We are here in the winners finals now. Map number 2. Mafty did, wow, oh my god. Okay, it's still early. Mafty did nothing wrong. Went up 1-0 with their victory at Underground Command Center. Can IQ win Flak Fort and take us to a third map? I'm Cameron Davis, joined by Wonder Chef. Let's get into it.
Yeah, the first time we're seeing Flak Fort on broadcast today. Very strange. Again, this was the most common map for a very long time, but I'm glad to see it. It's always an entertaining map, and we used to call this pretty much the most neutral map. I'm not sure if the community actually agrees with that. I would love to see what they think, but it does show for sure the confidence that these teams have as far as holding, attacking. It's a pretty baseline check, and you can, ooh, I like the little flex there with the beta, the network test spray.
Yeah, just looking, quickly browsing through the unit compositions right now. Mafty's squad, who, again, are starting on the defense, they are looking probably the most default that you can expect, especially from this map. Carl Sagan there on the turn A Gundam. I think this is probably the map that, at least to me, screams turn A the most. They have the long-ranged abilities to deal pressure on this initial long bridge, but then when they get into the actual site itself, the initial site, the close range, you always have that judo throw as a big threat.
It's so good, especially in that little inside area, right? This is a long range angle into a short range angle here, which is exactly what we're going to be seeing. And like you said, that just covers both of those so extremely well. And then, of course, we've seen how strong the butterfly G maneuver can be. But we're going to have a pretty safe push here. This door can be deadly. We've seen so many suits get downed just trying to walk past the door. Here's the push up through the side. This is a classic way to get into here, especially if you have a very strong mid-range game. But oh my gosh, what a pick.
Yeah, immediately Amana goes down, does get revived, but it's going to be a very strong, solid hold here from Mafty onto the side itself. They're going to let everyone walk in, similar to what we saw in the previous map with the waypoint. They're going to let everyone walk in. It's about staying alive. That's going to be the real challenge, but there's a lot of damage coming out from the firebomb from Mr. Big Large. Enders goes down because of it. David is there for the trade, but Amano is there in the kill feed, getting a lot of sprays, shots. Here is the DPS that you need to see coming out from IQ in order to clear the area, and it's going to be a nice pick, a nice fight, and it looks like the site is getting close, but it's being contested right now.
This is going to be really hard to fully take this. There's still a decent amount of force on the side of Mafty, but it looks like they're actually just going to retreat. They're going to say, you know what, we don't want to get staggered and give them too strong of a push into the second point, which is something that we tend to see the really strong teams do. So great first start. Already, I would say IQ looking a lot stronger, but oh my gosh, once again, the pick on Amano and Invictus as well. They have lost all momentum walking up to the second point, which is fine by them, right? They've got tons of time, 4.5 minutes, but it's a great way to reset the offense here on the side of Mafty.
Yeah, and this is an incredibly difficult position for a lot of teams to push through this big maze before they even hit to the point itself. It's a lot of walls for the defense to hide behind. And Sarah's here on the Sazabi trying to push forward, but just taking a lot of damage, keeping his shield as healthy as possible. But you can't stick too heavily here. Mr. Big Large in the sky, trying to deal some chip damage to try and push the defense away.
Now, one of the greatest fears here is that Carl Sagan is almost at the G maneuver, and there it is. This can be in a full team wipe in this particular choke point. We've seen it a ton of times. There's not going to be a... Well, no, I'm sorry. The Method's ult is actually almost up. The G maneuver is almost up. So we might see that as a combo, but right now they don't even need it. They're just getting so many picks. They're playing so aggressively. David, of course, in front with that shield, being so hard to take down and being one of the, honestly, the damage leaders, I believe, from what we've seen so far. They're going to get the reset regardless.
Yeah, I mean, that funnel usage here by David, and of course, heavy damage coming out to keep IQ, push them back, not give them any spacing, and it's completely resetting the line of scrimmage from ever since that first initial site take on A. Going into B, it looks like not much progress has been made at all, but Amano has Hades at the ready, hasn't activated it just yet, and there it is. They want to fire the push, but the timing could not have been worse because Carl Sagan's Moonbeam Butterfly comes in for the counter. And it's just a lot of more kills going the way of Mafty.
They didn't even use the energy cable to combo into that. That is the classic, but they were just able to save it. And that is one of the smartest ways to play with G maneuvers, is to see, okay, my opponent just used one of their important G maneuvers. I have either Screaming Nimbus or Butterfly, and I can just completely counter your play with mine, make you waste resources for gaining absolutely nothing. perfect play, and that is just going to put even more of a delay on IQ, who's now been about 2 minutes at this point without making any real progress in pushing.
Watch the flank. Arrow is swinging in from the side. Does get taken out, does get isolated, but it's still a lot of red in the kill feed. Mafty are still getting the kills and capitalizing off of the brief distraction. Devotion is pushing forward here on the Methus. Energy cable at the ready with behind David to make sure they get picked up a few of those final kills there off on the side. But 2 minutes left. IQ, they have yet to commit and execute a full successful fortified push.
They are going to have a lot of G maneuvers ready very soon. 3 up right now, could be 1 more, but right now, again, they're just getting flanked. They're getting pincered. They're just not able to find their way in. 2 of them down. It's going to be pretty much a full team wipe. It looks like they actually used a Screaming Nimbus a little bit earlier that maybe didn't really lead to anything. It's pretty unfortunate. They got some picks, but once again, they're just getting reset. They need to find some coordinated usage, I think, of their current G maneuvers. That punch is going to be huge that Mr. Big Large has. Chaotic has the, of course, that full clearing potential with the, again, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but that G maneuver.
Elias system.
Thank you.
Just truncated to, it's the second part of that word that catches me up. Elias system. But yeah, the problem is Blue Jay also used their own Beam Magnum ultimate, didn't seem to get anything out of it, counted out by Mafty's funnel usage on David. So every single G maneuver, as you said, just gets counted out. They use one, we'll use one in return. And Carl Sagan has Moonbeam Butterfly at the ready once again. You can hear the tick damage come on in. Not quite as many kills, and in fact, the Ashtamar is doing a lot of counter work, and now that Carl Sagan does get taken out, but Saris is traded in return. Chaotic at the Elias system. Is it going to be used?
From the sky, that was beautiful. Chaotic just jumping in, just getting a little pick, and now this is a potential here for the push of IQ. No David means that there's a lot of offensive potential, but just going into walls, I don't even know if that hit anything. Getting into the air is going to be nice. Being able to pick up Devotion as well. Chaotic making the plays here, getting them their first chance to push onto the point, but there have been some picks on the side of Mafty. I don't know if the players on IQ are in position to actually take this point.
Saris with the funnels at the ready. This is going to help clear out even more space. They've been getting the picks, and they've been making the groundwork to actually get onto the site itself, but can they start to collect the point? We're down to no time. Not a single member was on the site itself, and round 1 is over with 0% on site number 2.
The push to point A was so strong, but then they just weren't able to break past that one particular choke point. It is tough, the kind of zigzag walls right there on the way to B. I think maybe they're just going to have to realize that they have to stack more G maneuvers, right? It's not to say that IQ is wasting G maneuvers, but against a team like Mafty, they maybe just need to use even more. Wow, look at the damage from, I mean, honestly, first of all, Mr. Big Large on the side of IQ, but on the other side, 26k from a turn A Gundam.
Listen, multiple Moonbeam Butterflies in a round will do that. And then, of course, it's not just the, it's actually all the damage coming from the sky, it seems like. It's Carl Sagan with the Moonbeam Butterflies, and then it's the 2 Ashtamars across both teams with the second most damage there after Carl Sagan. Again, finding those angles from the sky, and I think it's because of that sort of maze snake hallway heading into point number B, where a lot of the action is, and the only real way to get a lot of damage is to find a second angle. A mono or arrow as well on the Pale Riders didn't have as much damage because of those walls, and it's really hard to try and find angles and positions to be able to deliver that DPS to push through.
The first point here, they get so many good opportunities, but like you said, that little zigzag wall, it makes it really tough, especially if there's people flanking along the outside wall when they're pushed to B. But we just didn't see them get past that point. So that is definitely why we see a lot of damage from particular suits. Of course, the Napalm Grenade as well, just from Ashtamar, always is a huge damage boost if you're trying to look for some cool stats. Pretty much you can just use that and almost half the team damage.
So round number 2 starts. Once again, the defenders are not going to be holding the bridge. They're going to be giving this up and just play for the site itself. And immediately Mafty going to be pushing forward. Focus going to be going to the sky to try and find some information, but additionally swing behind enemy lines. Carl Sagan here with the turn A, trying to get some damage with the charged laser beams, throwing those trash away. Turn A, the biggest litter bug in all of Gundam Evolution, but they're going to be pushing on in, trying to find a way to make through this ramp up.
Oh, but the duel behind point A is going to be Mr. Big Large versus Focus, two of the best Ashimars that we've seen on broadcast, and Mr. Big Large is going to win that with the help of that health pack, and that means that there is going to be a chance of a flank here, and that's going to be the flank that probably secures them this point, as it looks like there's going to be about 5 players for the side of IQ to only about 2 or 3 left on the side of Mafty.
Yeah, so not quite as successful of an initial push here on the second round, but there is still 3 minutes remaining for Mafty to recover and try and go for second, third, potentially even fourth attempt here. Sarah's taken very, very low, actually gets caught in a crossfire that is seemingly unexpected. And the revive can't even happen because the beat is pushing up on the high ground. Does get traded in return, but the damage coming out with Focus finalizing a lot of these kills on the Ashimar is gonna give them the point on the second attempt.
This was a lot slower, though. I mean, actually, there's still a chance to fight back. This is Mafty, although, yeah, there are just too many people gone. This is already confidence that this is going to be taken. But this is a lot, like I said, longer than it took for IQ to take that first point. So they're not in the worst position in the world. They just have to now defend, once again, this very important choke point.
Good firebomb from Focus. Deal some damage, try and get them space in this snake hallway. They've been able to gain some initial area. The question is, can IQ start to push them back? There is a punch at the ready for Mr. Big Large, but that's the only G maneuver, and it's going to be activated. Doesn't find a lot. Focus, Mr. Big Large is going to get taken out. Arrow following up with the Hades to try and answer back, and the damage coming in. Saris goes down. Arrow pushing forward, just beaming all the kids in the head, and they're taking the high ground, and they're able to actually make it onto the site. Cole Sagan with a Moonbeam Butterfly to finish off any stragglers.
Almost unnecessary at that point. All right, this is going to be another duel. Mr. Big Large is trying to take out Carl Sagan, at least stop one player from being able to support this defense, but all they needed was one tick. There just wasn't enough progress on the side of IQ on the offense, and that is going to be Mafty taking map number 2 and moving into grand finals.
Man, Mafty, they are just looking super, super strong. We saw IQ yesterday in their matches. Like, well, okay, are these guys actually going to challenge Mafty? But then when they go head-to-head, it's a completely different story. Mafty's just teamwork seems to have seemingly no holds. The only mistake that you could say is that they had to go for a second attempt on the Flak Fort A, and that was just because Mr. Big Large beat Focus in that 1v1 with the help of the health pack. I think if that didn't happen, if Focus were able to win that, it would have been even faster of a round completion.
I have to agree with you on that. It really came down to just a few little individual fights, just delay it slightly, but I just don't know who can beat Mafty right now. We're looking at a titan of the scene currently. This is just how they played last broadcast. This is how they looked when they played. Like I said, this is a combination of most of Mafty from the Gundam Showdown, from the Evolution Showdown, and then some of the first place team, Toto 1010 fans. So just a combination of how both of those teams played. That's exactly how this is looking. They are for sure earning their spots in all of these grand finals. We got to see which of these teams is going to be the one to step it up. But there are only 2 of them left as we move into our losers finals after
there are still 3 left here. There are still 3 left.
Well,
IQ are not eliminated just yet. They are now going down into the losers bracket to face off against last second. Whoever wins between that matchup is going to be facing Mafty in the grand finals. This is a match we haven't seen before coming up between IQ and last second. They have yet to face each other in this iteration. Again, Tekka and IQ in previous events, yes. But in this particular bracket, IQ and last second have yet to face off against each other.
Right. So we'll see which one of these actually has the ability to make that adaptation. When we did see this last time, if we look back at the previous broadcast, it was Tekka Dynasty that came out just barely on top. But again, this is such a different Tekka Dynasty, basically in the form of last second, that we can't almost even compare it. There's only about 2 similar players, so we'll have to see. But of course, that does mean that there's only 2 games left to go today. It's going to be losers finals and grand finals, but we're going to be moving to losers finals after we take a short break. So don't go anywhere, because we're going to have last second going up against IQ right after this.